We live right now. I kind of always do that when I start.
Well, I like being live. Live is good. I'm happy that I'm alive. Yeah.
Hey, that's good. That's a good one. That's good. Cool. So this is more so impromptu podcast.
Yep.
Like I told you earlier, I've done these. Majority of them are by myself.
Yeah.
There's been times I did EJ, Troy many podcasts ago. So the biggest thing really is just see if we can get to know people more as we enjoy coffee. And it's kind of fitting that you actually do have coffee.
You know? I'll always have my coffee with me. Yeah.
Always. Huh?
Very important. Yeah.
So who are you?
Oh, man, it's complicated.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who are you now?
Who am I now? I think the best way to describe me now is probably the first and most pertinent thing is I'm a father of two young girls. They dominate most of my time, most of my attention, and probably most of my emotions at the moment. And I like to wrap my coffees around them.
Okay.
Absolutely. So before they wake up in the morning, I'm also a husband.
Yes.
And I think that's probably second to the children. Just making sure that I'm able to support the wife, making sure that I'm there for her personally, but also socially and like spiritually, like a good friend to her.
Yeah.
Like a good comrade to her, but also just like a good friend.
Right.
You know, like we can hang out together and we drink our coffee together.
Nice.
So that's good too.
Where's your like first time you had coffee?
You know, it's interesting. I used to give my mom a really hard time about coffee. Probably because I grew up in 82. We shared a telephone and my mom smoked cigarettes and she drank coffee. So whenever it came time to like borrow the phone to call my friends from home, I could always smell the scent of coffee and cigarettes on the phone. And I'm a very like olfactory person, like orally, you know, like nasally. And so I'd always give her a hard time. Like, why does the phone stink? Like, what is the deal? Blah, blah, blah. So I gave her a hard time about coffee. But then I think the first time I became aware of drinking coffee is when I moved to Melbourne.
Okay. Makes sense because coffee is huge there.
It's huge.
Is it true that, you know, I've never been, but they have coffee shops all different corners and all that stuff, right?
Yeah. Now I would definitely say it's pervasive. It's everywhere. It's at work and it's in a range of different ways at work. So you could have someone with a stamper and like making you proper coffees at work.
Yeah.
You could have an event at work where there's a coffee trainer and they're making you coffees.
Yeah.
You can, and almost always you're going to a cafe in transition to work. So you pop into a cafe, there's a barista there, they're making you coffee. You're making decisions about what type of coffee you're drinking every day as well. So it's not really transient. You're not always just drinking what's on offer. There's options.
Yeah.
And so coffee becomes probably one of the very first decisions outside of getting dressed to get out of the house this morning. Yeah. One of the very first decisions that you make. Am I going to go to this cafe, interact with this person and have this bean, or am I going to go here and have this coffee?
It's part of the life.
It's a part of the lifestyle. Absolutely.
One question about that. I want to also know about like what you drink at home, but like when you're like going out to different places, is it more so like a vibe? Is it a coffee vibe, or is it like, I want to see this person today?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think in some ways it's about proximity. Like my job in particular, I think other people's jobs may be different. And my job has been different at different stages in my life. Like before I worked as a casual relief teacher. And as a casual relief teacher, you go to a different school on a different day.
Okay,
so
gotcha.
You see what I'm saying? So you're like, I'm going on this train, and then on this train, I get off of this train, and then I have to walk past this place to get to this coffee. And so that's random. And so at that point, you're a tourist.
Right.
And so you're making your way into a cafe for the very first time, and that's the last time, maybe the last time you'll go to that cafe.
Gotcha.
And so you'll order your coffee, like what it is that you drink. So in Melbourne, it's like either you're a long black or you're a latte or you're a cappuccino with oat milk or with regular milk and so on and so forth. So you'll order that coffee wherever you go until you get to a place where you feel very comfortable with that spot, right?
Gotcha.
But then in other times, now that I'm working at a traditional school, I'm going to work every day. So I have a mocha master at home.
Gotcha. I think we talked about the mocha master.
Yeah, the mocha master is good. And I like, my wife is Swedish. And because my wife is Swedish, we have what is called like a brie cafe, which is like a filter pot of coffee that we start with every single morning. Every morning we start with a filter pot of coffee.
Yeah.
And so we'll have one at breakfast. We sit down, we get the girls ready. We have our yogurt or we have our grut, which is like oatmeal. And then we'll eat and then we'll have a coffee. And I drink oat milk, and specifically like Oatly oat milk, which is a Swedish oat milk, which has a bit of sugar in it as well.
Okay.
My wife will drink like melon milk, which is like middle light milk. And so she'll have that with her coffee every morning. And so we have that with our brie cafe. So we put the filter coffee there.
Yeah.
We have that. I have my milk. She has her milk. And then we drink the coffee. And then we have a to-go because we both commute to work.
Gotcha.
So we both get on the bikes after that. I fill up my little the little, I don't know the name of the guy at the moment, but there's like a little cup that you use, that we use. So I fill up my cup, put it in my backpack.
So you can take it
and I take it with me.
Everything.
So when I have my first period class, I always have my coffee with me.
Yeah.
And the students are always like, what are you drinking, sir? Like, it's this coffee. It's like oat milk, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
And my wife has the same.
Gotcha.
So we essentially take those coffees and then we go home. We go to work on a daily basis with that. And what determines what coffee I buy probably has a lot to do with my commute home. Because I'll buy a bag.
Gotcha.
250 grams, half a kilo or a kilo. Yeah. And then we'll drink on that coffee sometimes.
So a lot of times when you do have your coffee, because I struggle with that quite a quick because I roast my own coffee and I can do whatever I need to.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I did lately was I've been frustrated with my coffee.
Oh, you're frustrated. You're not supposed to be frustrated with the coffee.
It's good.
Just enjoy it.
I mean,
it's frustration helpful.
Okay, that's you bring up a good point there. That's a good point there because like the last video that I did was I was pissed about it, but then when I did it, I was like, does anybody go through this? Like, do they have like a challenge or frustration with their coffee? You know, like, are they trying to figure it out? And I wonder if it's just me. But you bring up a very good point. You're just, it's a part of your journey. So you're not like, are you happy with every single bag of
No.
Oh, okay.
No. That's a great question. So I too experience frustrations with coffee. And I think my frustrations with coffee sometimes have to do with flavor.
Yes.
I personally, and I know this about myself, like I personally like a bit of chocolate with my coffee. Like I love a chocolatey undertone.
Oh, okay.
With a bit of berry in my coffee.
Just a little bit, though.
Yeah, just not too much. Yeah, not too. Like, are you influencing me here? No. Are you sure?
No.
Okay. I do like a bit of chocolate with a tinge of berry in my coffee.
Gotcha.
And so sometimes when I buy a bag, and they roast the beans, and I know we're gonna make it through. If it's a 250 gram bag, we're gonna make knowing that we're gonna make 5 or 6 deciliters. We're gonna get through it. We're gonna get through it in 3 or 4 days, and then we're ready for the next bag.
Yeah.
If it's like half a kilo or a kilo, then we know we have at least a week.
Yeah.
Saturdays, Sundays, we drink so much more coffee because we're around the house a lot.
Yeah, makes sense.
Fridays, my wife works from home, so we have a bit more coffee like in rotation. But I think I have been frustrated.
Okay.
I've been frustrated because of price.
Yes.
Like sometimes you'll buy a bag of coffee, it's a 250 gram bag, and
like
it
$20,
feels
$30.
Exactly, it feels exorbitantly expensive.
Oh yes.
You're like, what's happening here? This is supposed to deliver on this taste, but deliver on the taste.
Exactly.
So I experience that sometimes.
Yeah.
But then at other times, I think it's just not good to me.
Yeah.
It's just not good to me. So
do you and your wife go like? She feels the opposite sometimes. Like she may like it.
We do have some differences. I think she likes her coffee much stronger. Yeah. And sometimes the difference is the ratio of water to bean or water to coffee. You know, sometimes the ratio is there. Sometimes it's just the coffee. So I have a process that I use when I use the Mocha Master.
You bring up a good point here. This is what one of the things I'm really trying to figure out too is that you have a roaster that gives you the beans, that tells you what you will probably more so taste. You may not taste it, you will. It depends on the situation. They may even give you an actual recipe. But what I'm hearing, tell me if I'm right or wrong, it doesn't matter what they say with the recipe. You're going to make it the way that you are going to make it with your coffee.
I'm a creature of habit. Yeah.
That's the majority. That's what I was
I think we're humans. We're humans. And so you there's no person that I'm going to have a conversation with and they're going to say, hey, do your coffee like this. And I'm going to be like, yeah. I got a baby upstairs crying. What's going on? But I have to make sure I measure it like this.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen. Yeah. So I have a simple routine. Like, for example.
Yeah, what's your routine?
So for my wife likes simple things. Like she, and almost obsessively, wants to wet the filter paper before she puts the coffee in the filter paper. I'm not necessarily the same.
I'm not going to taste it.
I put it inside. I don't need to wet it. Sit it on the sink. Let it drip dry, and then come back to it, and then put the. That's not my swag. Yeah. I'm like, cool. I'm about the ratio. I'm about 1 deciliter, 2 cups, 2 deciliters, 2 cups, and then for me the consistency is if I do the same thing, what does the flavor give you? And then
you can probably like.
That's how I determine
a little bit from there if you need to, right?
Well,
like add a little bit more coffee.
I particularly change the coffee.
Oh,
I'm a creature of habit. So I'm like, if I do my coffee like this every time,
it don't work,
and the bean didn't work, or the grind didn't work, like the way they ground the coffee, I would almost more change the process than I would change myself.
You're not changing your process.
I would almost like, for me, my time, energy, and effort given to coffee is pretty much the same from day after day. Yeah. And I'll change the bean, I'll change the grind, but in terms of my habits around like how I prepare the coffee, it will almost always be the same.
Okay, so you also, with your coffee maker, you also have you have a grinder?
Yep.
What kind of grinder is it?
So we just have I don't even know the name of the brand, but we do one or two things. So sometimes we grind the bean in the morning.
Okay.
Sometimes we just have them ground the coffee as a bag.
Especially probably if it's small, right?
Yeah. If it's a 250 gram bag, what I'll do is I'll go to this little place in Melbourne, and on the north side is a place called Thornbury, and it's like a little place where they sell nuts and all this kind of stuff, and they'll grind the bags for you. So they ask you, what type of coffee maker do you have at home? I say I have a Mocha Master. Okay. And I say, okay, cool, we'll grind it to that capacity. And they'll give me a 250 gram bag. Yeah. And that'll last me 4 or 5 days. Yeah. So I don't need to.
Through the week or something.
Absolutely. It gets me through the week. A couple of coffees a day. I come home in the evening. Literally, if there's some left, I'll drink that. I'll warm that up and I'll drink that. Yeah. Like right while I'm making dinner for the girls. So that's essentially it's like my relationship with coffee. Yeah. And it has a lot to do with my priorities. It has a lot to do with my routine and like how I weave it into my routine. So, but if that's the case, on a Saturday, I will put beans in the coffee grinder. Okay. And it's just like a little grinder. It sits on the bench top. Brevide, I think it's called.
Breville?
Breville.
I know Breville's pretty big in
Australia. So a little Breville bean grinder. Yeah. It's like one that sits on the countertop. You put some beans in there. You measure them out. We have a little measuring cup. The measurements, and we'll measure them. We'll put them in there, and then that's how.
So essentially, do you, with your measuring technique, do you do scoops, or do you actually like measure out to see, okay, this is how many grams?
It depends on who's making coffee, right? Okay. So if I'm making coffee, it's scoops. If my wife is making coffee, she's like, can you measure out this amount, and can you measure out this amount? And and it's funny, Oki, that you asked that, because it's really important, because my wife bakes bread every morning. So especially on the weekends, we're baking bread for the girls. So like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, bread is in rotation. So the scale is out.
I see.
So the scale is already out. It's already on the countertop. We're baking bread. We have bread for pizza on Fridays because we have fridagsmys, because my wife is Swedish. So we have like this thing where we have Swedish pizza, and then we have lollies and stuff like that on Fridays. Yeah. And then on Saturday morning, the pizza that's left over, we may have that for lunch and stuff like that. Gotcha. So the scale is out. So when the scale is out, my wife is like, oh, can you measure out this amount? I'm like, you're asking for a lot right now. You're asking me to do too much. But I will. I'll measure it out. And that is by the weights.
Let me ask you this. Do you see a drastic difference in your method versus hers? Like what you get from that same exact coffee?
I do see a difference. I see a difference in the sense that when I make coffee, I will almost always have it with like hot milk, which is like oat milk. Okay. But when she's having me do the beans and all this, like sometimes I can just drink it black. I can drink it black. Yeah. And I can experience just the coffee.
Just purity.
Just pure coffee with water. Like I can have it going through the filter and you can smell it. The aroma is different. Yeah. It's different. It's a whole different experience. When the beans are ground and you smell it, like you're doing coffee now. Whereas when Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I'm out, bro. I'm just drinking coffee.
Good enough.
It has a lot to do with like waking me up. Right? It's waking me up, getting me up in the morning. It infuses with the routine of the girls, getting the girls downstairs, getting one of the girls into the sitting chair, putting a seatbelt on, and all that kind of stuff. So it has a lot to do with safety and efficiency and what's effective in that moment. Yeah. But on Saturdays, it's a different pace.
Different pace, yeah.
And sometimes you want to appreciate that pace.
Yeah.
And so the milk doesn't come to the table. Sometimes it's just like, how does this taste this time? And sometimes it's about like actually just drinking coffee at that moment. Yeah.
I'm gonna bring up this point because Lamar and I go way back, and we used to be
just a little bit way back. A little bit, yeah.
And I actually wrote when I was doing blogging even more extensively. I remember there was this one time, because I think this ties into a lot of things that we're talking about. I don't know if you remember what I'm about to say, but I was chilling in the kitchen. I think we had some orange juice, and I think you were just around, and I just grabbed it out. I grabbed some more again.
This day, it was LJ. Yeah, orange juice.
Yeah, and Lamar was like, "Oh, I'm not even enjoying it." And I was like,
I remember this day.
Like, this motherfucker. What the? And then I don't think we really talked about that, but I sat with it for a while. And I was really thinking about it. I wrote a blog post about it. I really thought about it. And I guess what I'm getting at is that you're still doing that.
Yeah.
Meaning that you're still trying to make sure in your life you're having those moments of like relaxation. Really just like being present.
Yeah, being present is important.
Yeah.
It is.
Well, what did you think about that moment or that situation?
It's funny. So a bit of context. So for those of you who don't know Oki is a very busy guy. He has his routines. He has his training routines. And so some things don't necessarily get a proper amount of time and pace and like enjoyment. And so I saw, he was like, we were drinking orange juice. And I had purchased this orange juice. I purchased this orange juice as a housemate in his house. And he drank it like water. And I was like, how did it taste? And you're like, it's orange juice. And I'm like, but no, like, this is a very specific orange juice that I buy. And for those of you who don't know, like, we live in Texas. And in Texas, you can get a range of different orange juices when you go to the store. But you can also get like freshly squeezed orange juice that is actually delicious. Yeah. It's really delicious. And so I was talking to him about savoring that moment of orange juice and knowing that when you buy a quart of orange juice, that is not something that you drink like water. That is something that you take and you fill a little bit at the bottom of the glass and you drink it and almost like as an alcoholic beverage, like you're actually experiencing it for that morning. Like I'm having OJ today. And for me, I'm still like that. Now that I have children, I'm not a single man and I'm a husband. Now you still have to carve those moments out for yourself. And now it's not orange juice. It would be coffee.
Yes.
And it doesn't happen on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday morning when I'm doing drop-offs. It happens on Saturdays and Sundays when the pace is very calm and it's very different. And I am still that same guy.
Yeah.
And I do still, and even milk, like as an accompaniment with my coffee. Yeah. Milk as an accompaniment with my coffee. Like sometimes I feel like I'm drinking more coffee with milk than I am experiencing coffee. But on Saturdays and Sundays, I have the time to slow down. When my wife is at the helm and she's like, roast these beans, so on and so forth. And then it is about like enjoying the coffee.
Yeah. I think, I go back and forth. I mean, I don't go back and forth. I'm actually a lot better now. I used to be really elitist about it because people.
You elitist. I would never gather that from you. Okay, like really? No, I'm just
well, I guess what I'm getting at is that I used to be a person that felt that you only drink it black. You know,
I see. So you had these moments.
Until I met my wife. She's the one who really got me into coffee. And that's how I met my wife, because of Lamar.
Yeah. This is true too.
But it was interesting, and I think you can relate to this too, is that whenever I would give her some coffee, like especially like an African, like very vegetable type of tasting coffee, to a lot of people who don't drink it black, that's even more offensive.
Interesting.
So I give it to her, and she will take it. And I said, well, how was it? Because she has creamer no matter what.
Interesting.
You know?
So not milk, but creamer.
Creamer. I have creamer with my decaf.
Yeah.
Especially at night when I'm just relaxing, or if I'm doing like a mixed drink, so to speak, with coffee. And she would tell me all these notes, what she was tasting, and I'll drink it black, and I'm like, wow. I did not get all of that, so I can see what you're talking about. I bring that up to say that I think you can still taste what you're tasting even when you have your oat milk, you know? No. But yes, it's a totally different experience when you just drink it black. How does it compare when you drink it during the week if you have a big enough bag of coffee that will last that long?
I think it's
drinking it black.
I think the difference is like, I think it has to do with attitude.
Okay.
You know, like I think a lot of different, like I don't change oat milks. So
okay,
that's consistency. You know what I'm saying? That's big,
yeah.
So I have my consistency. So I can tell, and I also have a consistency how many times I shake it. Like I'm a creature of routine.
Yeah.
So how many times I shake it, I twist the top, I make sure I shake it. Even like, so for me to drink the coffee and have it this time or have it next time, it's always very different for me. Like if it's oat milk, I have a certain amount of oat milk.
Yeah.
And so it's this coffee. But if I'm grinding the beans but now I'm actually engaging in coffee drinking. When if I decide no milk, just coffee, me and coffee are on a date.
Yes,
we're on a date now. You know what I'm saying? So now it's not like, this isn't business. This is pleasure.
We're getting to know each other.
We're getting to know each other. I'm actually trying to figure out like how you actually taste. Like what's at the core, what's at the essential. And to be honest with you, and I didn't realize this until having this conversation, that moment doesn't always come. But that moment will indicate whether or not I organize myself to go back to that same place to get that bean again. Yeah. Because now I'm like, when I actually drank it, when I actually spent some time.
So do you like, if it's something that's like off-putting or whatnot, do you like take a picture of the bag and like say nah, or you just kind of have?
Well, I'm good. It's usually, so that's the great thing about Melbourne, because it's a coffee place. So you're never going to the supermarket and getting coffee, you know? So you go to this cafe, and this cafe happens to get these beans from this place. And you go to this cafe, and this cafe happens to get these beans from this place. And you go to another, and it's literally, it's not like you're going across town. They're on the same block. Yeah. You're on High Street. There are 10 cafes, and you start here. Can I get a bag? Can I get a bag from you? Can I get a bag from you? Can I get a bag from you? And you begin to notice brands.
Gotcha.
And so for me, it has a lot to do with like, when I have that good experience, I will even go back looking for that bag. Like, do you carry this bag again? Or like, do you carry this bean from this region of the world? Like this Ethiopian, I had this Ethiopian blend. It was a single origin. Like I would really like to try that one. And it had a bit of chocolate raspberry. Oh, you have this one. They have names for them. And I'm like, oh yeah, I want that one. Oh, I'm sorry, we don't have that one again. Yeah. So it has a lot to do with like, when you drink it, like what will you do now to reinvent that experience again? Like how hard will you work? And I'm willing to work hard.
You know, and I think that's the beauty of this. You know, it's like my biggest thing right now, especially when I'm doing my YouTube videos and all that stuff, and really trying to understand my business is about people. And I just want to be a part of the journey, their journeys. But it seems like what I'm understanding from you is that every piece of it is like a journey. It's a part of your life. It's like, it's not just about the coffee itself. It's about the discoverability, the hunt to find the next coffee that you're going to enjoy, you know?
And it's about how what makes you want to organize yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? What what makes you shift your routine? You know, like what will you go looking for?
Yeah.
You know, like what will you come back for? Similar with wine.
Yeah.
You know, like you get these wines and you drink these wines, but what motivates you to take out your phone and take a photo of the bottle, and then say to yourself, I'm gonna hunt that bottle down. And I've been that guy. I will hunt a bottle down.
I see.
You know, when I was with your brother when we were in Melbourne, we had this bottle of wine we used to drink. It was called Musician. And I guarantee you he will remember this. Because we drink this bottle of wine. It was like a Cab Sav, and we both liked it. It was a part of some of the meals that we were having at the time. And we just started ordering it by the case.
It's like, it's so damn delicious.
You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Like it just actually completes the meal. So we started ordering it by the case. And I think coffee does the same thing.
Yeah.
When you find something, and it doesn't last forever.
Right. I think that's the beauty of it, right?
Yeah, it doesn't last forever, but it's something about what you're eating at the moment and how it complements what you're eating at the moment and how it complements your routine. It has a lot to do with what fits. And I think that's the one thing that I really enjoy about coffee, because coffee it's a bit of a mirror for you. It has a lot to do with like what fits right now. And if you take a step back, you start to ask yourself questions about why it fits.
Why? Yeah,
you know?
Yes.
Like, so for example, like my girls will eat in the summer, they eat the traditional cereal, like Wheat Bix. So wherever we are in the world, they'll eat the cereal at that time. So like Wheat Bix, but it's a lot of milk. So if you're eating cereal and it's summer, it's cold cereal, so it's cold milk.
Yeah.
If it's in the winter, it's grut. It's like oats.
Yeah.
And we don't do a lot of oats. It's oatmeal. It's literally oats.
Gotcha.
Oats,
but it's
water.
Warm, it's hot.
It's warm, it's hot, and it has a taste for your palate. Yeah. And there's certain types of coffees that complement that, and there's certain types of coffees that don't seem to. And when there's a lot of milk,
I see what you're
you see what I'm saying? So like different times of the year, seasonally different coffees will actually make the cut. And the other times you're thinking, oh, let me go back and get that one. You're like, it's not getting the job down right now. It's not getting the job down right now. So a really interesting coffee story is my wife and my mom. So now we're in Stockholm. It's summertime. And her mom is meticulous about her routine, not the bean.
Okay.
She measures out the coffee. She knows, like, that's her thing. So it's kind of similar to me. She measures it out. She grinds her beans every morning. She's a retiree. She has time. So every day her process is the same.
Yeah.
So now when we're sitting on the other side of the table and we're drinking coffee with her, we're like, damn, this is good. What bean is this? You understand what I'm saying?
Exact same bean.
So we're asking about the bean.
I see.
We're not asking about the season. She will eat the same thing every year. Every time of the year, it doesn't matter. Yeah. The bean changes. For us, the meal changes, so the bean will change to adapt to the meal. For mom, she eats the same. She has a maca. She has a little bit of, we call it fine milk, and she has some havregryn, which are like puffy, like for Americans, it would be like Raisin Bran, as if they came in like a little puff ball or something like that. Yeah. So it's like very high in fiber and stuff like that. So her coffee bean, I'm like, what bean is this? This shit is delicious. Yeah. Like, what is happening here? And she's like, oh yeah, this is one of my favorites. So every time we're with her, every morning, she puts the bean in the grinder. It's ground. It's a certain amount. It's proportional. That's very systematic for Cardi, for Kirstine. And then we're like, so when we taste it, we're like, this is good or this is not.
Right.
Yeah. So it's like, I have a very interesting relationship with coffee. No matter where I am, even here. Now we're in Tulum.
Yeah.
I wake up in the morning, I train, I want my coffee. It's happening. Right after my training, coffee's coming. Not water, I'm looking for coffee. So I'm like, all right, so what do they have on offer right now?
Yeah.
And I just take that, I put it through a little bit of a process, and I have a bit of a drink, and then and for me, it's like it's voyeuristic. It's like this moment that I need to happen
for yourself,
for myself,
for yourself,
to feel like my morning is complete. Yeah, before I sit down.
How's your coffee today?
Terrible. Yeah, it was terrible. Yeah, it was hotel coffee. Yeah, it was terrible. It wasn't like, ooh, this coffee's off the chain. You know, it's just like, but I got my fix.
Yeah.
And now coffee was more an accessory. So I drank my coffee, And it was more like a vehicle for me to get to my morning routine. It was like, all right, cool, coffee. So training, coffee, 20 minutes of reading. You see what I'm saying? So now it's like, and it's just a process, and I deal with the mosquitoes, all that kind of stuff. So
let me ask you this, because I've gone through that quite a bit. I do have a couple of things that I just need to do. Like I also like coffee's not the first thing I go for. I work out, and then I do my writing, and then eventually it's coffee. You know, just one cup, small, 6 ounces of coffee, and I'm good to go.
Okay, interesting.
For most of the time, you know. And then sometimes I'll do my espresso from time to time.
Okay. I like an espresso too from time to time.
It's
nice.
Yeah. So
makes you feel like a gentleman.
It really does. Especially when you put it like
a little cup.
Or even like I have a shot glass that
I bet. Okay.
That I use that I'm like, feels more sophisticated.
You do feel sophisticated. You feel your little, you dust your shoulders off like a little player. Yeah. Like, okay. I'm a grown ass man. Absolutely.
But I guess what I'm getting at is that we are creatures of habits. And then there's a big movement, if it is still more so a movement, of people telling other people, like, I do all these things in order to be successful.
Oh, interesting.
And I guess to me, after a while, once you start hearing from this person, that person, this person, then you start to do some of those things. I think it's one or two things. One, you let me know what you think about this, is that to me, you start to not be more so yourself because, you know, you're just doing things because other people have told you that this works.
Yeah.
Or two is like you're just living your life checklist at a time in order to get things done. So I guess where's the balance between it? It seems like in the morning time, you need your structure, but throughout the day, you'll do some things that are similar, but you're okay with it going with the flow. So how do you feel about that?
So for me, and it's interesting. I think like as a father, sometimes you have to carve a space for yourself.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And I or just as a parent, sometimes you have to carve a space for yourself. So like for me, like coffee becomes like my moment.
Yeah.
My children don't share that with me.
Yeah.
My breakfast, they will take off my plate. You know, like if you know, my daughter's, she's 18 months. She's looking. I slice some bananas in my porridge, or I slice some bananas in my cereal. No. I'm like, okay, so you want this? And sometimes I lose my whole bowl.
Yeah.
But coffee is mine.
That's yours.
You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. No one sips my coffee.
Gotcha.
Not even my wife. You know, I don't share that with anybody. So I think, and it's not because I don't share it, not because I'm not willing to, but I happen to be in a position where they don't actually ask for it. And so for me, the structure has a lot to do with like, it's less about the time of day, but sometimes it's about like what's for Lamar.
Right.
And my coffee is always for me. It's never for work. It's never for the moment. It's never for what I'm missing. It's never for what I haven't gotten. I feel like coffee is always for me because I choose it. I choose the bag. I choose the ratio. And even if I'm doing it the way my wife wants it to be done,
you're doing it.
When I pour my coffee from my cup, even if I take I have my cafe, I have my cup, I have her cup. She wants a little bit of coffee and a whole lot of milk. I want a little bit of coffee and and a dash of milk, so it's warm. And so, like for me, coffee as a structure has a lot more to do with how I tend to me every single day, no matter what's going on around me, in some of the very smallest and unique ways. I feel like that's kind of how I feel about it. Yeah. Is that fair?
That's fair.
Yeah. It's about me like carving out a space.
So even if with time, your daughters, when they're of age, and let's just say they like coffee too, and they want to spend some time with you drinking it, you will still find time for yourself for that thing, right?
I think so. I think that, and I'm already experiencing that in other areas of my life. Like I think there are not many things as a parent that you can really justify doing for you. And I think it's just it's a Western way of parenting. Like, you know, we're all about our children. We're all about really embracing this stage of our lives, in terms of being parents. But like, if my daughter decides at some stage that she wants to have a coffee, my friends joke about this, right? So in Melbourne, I'll take Angla. She's my oldest born. She's 4 going on 5. She'll be 5 on the 15th of October. And I will take Angla into a cafe and I order my coffee. And she orders what we call in Melbourne a baby chino.
Okay.
And hey, can I have I'll have a coffee? Can I get a cappuccino? I want chocolate. I want oat milk. What oat milk do you have? So she sees me having these conversations with them. I have alternative. Okay, I'll take alternative. I have Oatly. That's my favorite. So she sees me having these conversations, right? She'll come in. I want a baby chino. And they'll say, oh, really? And she'll be like, but I don't want the marshmallow inside. I want my marshmallow on the side. Can you not make the milk too warm? And I don't want my milk to be frothy. I just want it to be warm, but not like foamy.
She's like, I have my preference.
She has, so she's already
picking up on
my specificity and my discernment around how I want my coffee, rather than wanting to have mine. She doesn't want to taste mine. She wants hers to be her way. Yeah. And they're like, literally people will be standing in line. They'll be like, wow, that kid knows what she wants. And I'm like, yeah, like her dad knows what he wants. You know what I'm saying? And so they're realizing that, that she is in a way, I got chip off the old block. So I don't ever expect Angla to want to have something that belongs to me. I expect her to see something that I have, and for her to figure out how she wants that to look for herself. Yeah. And I think that's kind of what, you know, coffee's like a mirror in some ways, you know, and it begins to become this opportunity for you to see. But like, real talk, she'll go to the cafe and she will be like, and she'll take it and she'll drink it and she'll be like, it's not that good, Papa.
It's not that good.
It's not that good, Papa. And I'm like, what do you think? Yeah, what do you think about it? I don't know. And it can be, I think the marshmallow's too big. Or
is that why
the milk is too hot? Yeah, she wants it on the side so she can nibble on it and then she can drink. And then she can have another nibble and then she can drink. How many marshmallows do you want? I want 1. And it's really big. And she says, oh, that's a big marshmallow. Or she gets, and then she gets 2. And she's like, oh, that's too big. Let me get 1. So now you're beginning to see like how you and your specificity kind of like makes its way to your kids. So coffee is like a vehicle for like a range of
it's like, because, you know, your kids are still very young and of course they're still growing and everything. But I think what you did right there was you still allowed her to be like, hey, you can still have your preferences as you grow up. You know,
making choices, adapt them. You know, and EJ used to say this. Your brother used to say this. I think it was something along the lines of, and I don't know where he reads all this Stoic literature, but it was like happiness is getting what you want, and after getting it, wanting what you've gotten. You see what I'm saying?
Everything matches, right?
Yeah. So you got it. You asked for it. You got it, and that's what you wanted. Yeah. So you're like, I'm satisfied.
Yeah.
Whereas disappointment would be like getting what you want and then be like, that's not what I really wanted to begin with. Like, I thought it was going to be this, but it's not. So and in a way, I'm kind of like communicating that to her. Like, how was it? It was good. Perfect. So will you do that again? Yes, I will. And that's the same for me. I'll order something and I'll try it. I'll experiment with it. If it was what I wanted, then I'm like, that was perfect. But if it wasn't, I'm like, I should try it differently.
Right.
Yeah, let's try it differently.
You would like take mental notes.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. I think it's a part of being an adult, and it's a part of being a person who's particular about what you like, particular about what you want to do. Yeah, it's important.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Man, I didn't know where this was going.
Oh man, I appreciate you, bro. I knew where it was going.
Yeah, I knew where it was going. You directed where you wanted.
Absolutely, I knew where it was going. I was like, so let's sit down. I was like, man, let's have a chat. Yeah, coffee is there. Coffee is and will always be a central part of my life. And I think my mom finds that comical, to go back to what I said initially.
Right,
I think my mom will find that comical, knowing that I've come a long way with my relationship with coffee. But it is a metaphor for life.
Yeah.
And not like my whole life, but it's a metaphor for like these moments in my life every day, which makes it my life.
Every day.
Because I don't think there are many days that I go without having a coffee.
Yeah.
And not like just like in its like germane sense. It's like, where's my coffee? Like it's supposed to be a part of my day. Like it's a part of what makes the day complete. Yeah. The day hasn't happened if the coffee hasn't taken place.
Exactly.
Yeah. I'm still like scrambling, trying to make sure that, you know, I can make it complete because the coffee's not there yet. Yeah. So I can't recall the day, the last day that I went a whole day.
You didn't have it,
Not one coffee.
Wow.
Traveling around the world on the fly, doing this or that, like, where's my coffee? I'm like, looking at my clock, I'm like, what's happening right now? Oh, you travel from here to Dubai. I'm like, where's my coffee? Yeah, where's my coffee right now? Yeah, it's important.
Nice, cool.
I really appreciate that you're doing this coffee thing.
Hey, thanks.
I think it's very good for people to pause and talk about something that they don't necessarily think has a very huge impact on their day-to-day operations. You know, like I think it's like spending money without thinking about spending money. It's like sleeping without thinking about sleep.
It's like, why did you do that, right?
Yeah. Exercising without thinking about exercise. It's like all these things that we invite into our lives without really taking the time to pause and analyze, like how much thought, time, energy, and effort do we give to them.
Yeah, right.
And whether or not if we shift a little thing here or shift a little thing there, that it could affect you negatively or it could affect you.
Exactly. Yeah. It's huge because, you know, like I said, I have my talks with myself constantly whenever I'm not talking to people. And I'm like, I don't know if I'm insane just thinking about all this stuff, something like a first world problem, but I'm going to go with it because at the end of the day, others may think probably not the same, but they're probably thinking about things in a similar manner.
I would agree. And it's I would almost go as far to say that if it's not coffee, it's something else.
Yeah.
You know, if it could be a daily walk.
Yes.
It could be meditation. And you know, if you're spiritual, it could be like your prayer. You know, there are these things that we invite into our lives that create some sense of homeostasis and some sense of balance and some sense of equilibrium. And when those things aren't there because we've been distracted, or those things aren't there because we've been, you know, negligent, we find ourselves reeling in a certain way without really knowing, like why am I off?
Right.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Why am I off? Why is my energy different? Why is my vibe different? And it has a lot to do with how much attention do you give to the things that you invite into your life. And when they're not there, do you analyze why they're not there? And do you analyze, you know, whether you're different because they're not there? And do you say to yourself, well, I didn't do this for myself today, so tomorrow. And I didn't do this for myself today, and this is what happened. So maybe I should do this for myself tomorrow and see if
that was the thing.
If that was the thing that kind of threw me off. And coffee is that thing. Yeah, coffee can be that thing. And it is definitely that thing for me.
Yeah.
Is it that thing for you?
Of course it is.
Yeah.
Of course it is.
Because you love your coffee.
Yes. I love my coffee. I love my coffee, even though I'm frustrated right now.
Yeah, I'm sorry. We all struggling right now, bro.
You know, and it's funny I'm saying that because I'm a coffee roaster and I like to be as honest as possible to people because, like, guys, I go through this.
It's that bullshit. That shit we drank today.
Hey, one of my podcast episodes was "This Coffee is Whack."
That's a good one.
Just because I'll tell you a little bit about it and then we'll go ahead and end it, is that I used this whole experiment with this particular coffee only going with what the importers gave me as as the notes. And
you're following orders.
Well, sort of. This is what they told me that it tasted like. I'm like, cool. Then after that, I left it alone because I'm going to do my thing.
Yeah.
I'm going to do my thing. I'm going to roast it in my own way. I'm going to have my own protocols. Then I brewed it a couple ways, and I was like, okay, I roasted it light. I slowed it down, or I gave it more time, or I sped it up or not. Did a kind of similar thing with a medium roast and then a dark roast, and I tasted it. And the main point of the whole experiment was finding sweetness. Because a lot of times when people talk about coffee, it's an element of acidity and sweetness. And it took me a very long time to actually taste sweetness in coffee. You know,
I don't know if I ever talked to you. That's
See? Yeah. And a balanced cup doesn't mean a 50-50 acidity to sweetness level. Sometimes it can be a 70-30. And that's why a lot of times whenever I'm trying to like analyze what I'm really drinking is that I'll eat a lot of fruit. In season, out of season, and whatnot. And with this particular coffee, it has a fruit forward first, a red fruit forward first, and then it just goes into this crazy wave of like grapefruit acidity. But a lot of times when people talk about grapefruit, to me, they're talking about the negativity of grapefruit, meaning that when they have grapefruit, they're eating it with the rind.
Yeah.
But if you actually
the peel or that peel that's inside.
Yeah, exactly.
And I love grapefruit.
Yeah.
And I take the time, energy, and effort to
have to.
Yeah, you do.
Because when you actually eat grapefruit the right way, because there is a right way.
There is a right way to eat grapefruit.
You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's, to me, a lot sweeter. You still get that acidity. Sometimes it still lingers a little bit, but you do get that acidity, a good balance between a lemon and an orange, even more dimensional. But when I was drinking that coffee, that lingered. The grapefruity taste lingered, but not in the way that you and I truly experience grapefruit.
Yeah.
Whenever we say grapefruit, most of the time people are eating it with the rind.
Yeah.
The bitter parts.
Yeah.
So I was roasting it this way, and then I was doing a different temperature for whenever I brewed it. Different, like 1 pours, 2 pours, 3 pours. Probably try a French press. Probably try a B60.
Wow,
all these different. I was working the bean.
He's working it. Yeah.
And for the most part, it still tasted more so the same. So I came to the conclusion. One of a future YouTube video that I did before we came here is that one thing I've realized is that just like with people. The only thing people, I believe, has advantage over coffee is that people in coffee has personalities. But for the most part, at that time when that coffee was harvested, was processed, and roasted, no matter if you do roast it so many different ways, that's that coffee's personality. People, for the most part, if you really want to change, you can actually change your personality. But for the most part, people are just like coffee. It tastes the way that it tastes. So even though I was frustrated with the whole experiment, there's a lot of things I did learn. And that's the realization that I came to is like, okay, that's cool. Let's go on to the next one. Let's find something that you can actually taste sweetness in coffee. You know? So yeah, I'm pissed right now.
Okay, I know we're struggling. We all struggling, bro. I mean, and it's okay. Like we didn't come into the room for the coffee. You know, we came for the people. We came for connections. We came for these chats.
Yeah.
You know, we got on planes and we decided we'll be together again and we can actually have some conversations. So, we won't be having delicious coffee around.
That's perfectly okay.
Yeah, that's perfectly okay.
It brings us together.
Yeah, maybe some tequila will help balance that out.
Right.
But at the end of the day, I think it's what coffee does.
That's even more important.
Yeah, it's what coffee does.
Itself.
It initiates these types of conversations. It helps you reflect. It helps you think about some of the different things that you haven't really anticipated or thought about before. But probably the thing that I think I enjoy the most about coffee is it keeps me on my toes.
Yeah.
It really keeps me present. When I could quite easily not be.
Yes.
Like music. It really keeps me present.
Do you do both of them at the same time sometimes? Or
sometimes there's no music.
Gotcha.
Sometimes it's just kids screaming in the background.
Right.
Give me this, give me that. And I'm like, you know what? No tunes today. Just you and coffee.
Yeah.
And I'm okay. You are my music. But my coffee is my constant.
Yeah.
It's always happening. Whether I'm making it my way or whether I'm making it my wife's way, makes me think about Usher music. Like, I don't know who's doing it which way, but coffee is there.
It's there.
It's there. It's there. It's there every single morning.
Every single day.
Every single day.
Yeah. See, that's why I renamed the business Everyday Beans.
It's smart.
Because I'm like, we don't eat beans every day.
Nah, bro.
But coffee beans?
Coffee. It happens.
It has to.
Not having chorizo and refried beans.
No, I don't need that every day.
I think it causes a little bit too much disruption in the digestive system. But the coffee bean every day, it's in there. It's in the mix. And I think it's a smart. I think it's a smart name. I think it's befitting. It's befitting to the role that it plays.
Yes.
In our lives. Yeah, it's good.
Awesome.
You're onto something, my man.
Hey.
You're onto something. Keep it up.
I will.
All right.
I appreciate it.
Thank you for the time.
Thank you.
Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure indeed.
All right. Thanks, man.
Cheers.
Appreciate it. We out.
Yes. See you later, beautiful people. I see these cats creeping.